Hello, I am going to discuss On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder, and I'm going to be discussing the top five lessons that I chose from his book. Lesson one is do not obey in advance. Snyder warns that censoring oneself before receiving orders enables tyranny. This is a political tragedy because it allows oppressive systems to thrive without resistance. This modern relevance is because censorship occurs frequently on television and in social media. This self-censorship can evolve into forced censorship if people passively comply. And an example of this in 2025 would be how the U.S. Department of Education removed public references to DEI diversity, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Public opinion is divided, but the key issues arise when the government enforces compliance regardless of belief. And how could you practice this lesson? You could support your peers or colleagues who face backlash for expressing dissent and refuse to internalize pressure before it is officially imposed. Now, lesson two would be to defend institutions. Snyder argues for the active defense of institutions like courts, the free press, and labor unions. If these institutions fall, authoritarian actors like Hitler can more easily gain control. This historical connection is because Snyder mentions Hitler and highlights the dangers of allowing institutions to erode in his book. Modern examples of 2025 would be like Ukrainian President Zelensky and how he moved anti-corruption agencies under presidential control. This sparked protest, and citizens feared institutional independence was weakening. The New York Times reported this as an erosion of civic safeguards. How to practice this lesson: volunteer for nonprofit monitoring judicial independence, donate to investigative journalism organizations, and lobby local representatives to resist institutional weakening. So lesson three would be kind to our language. Snyder urges avoiding scripted slogans and thought-terminating phrases. He encourages people to develop their own way of speaking, disconnect from internet periodically, and read books to deepen independent thinking. A historical example of this would be Victor Klemper's, how he documented Germany, how Nazi Germany used propaganda-driven vocabulary to devalue dissent and normalize violence. Modern examples in 2025 would include how Donald Trump often labeled DEI policies as tyrannical woke diversity. ABC News and The Guardian highlighted the parallel to past propaganda tactics. And so, how could we practice this lesson? How can we be kind to our language? Well, the best way is so if you're going to write letters to lawmakers, you need to use your own words rather than just repeating party slogans or maybe what you heard someone else say. You can use your own words, and that's the best way to do that. So the fourth lesson is to believe in truth. Snyder argues that living in truth is the foundation of resistant authoritarianism. The key ideas behind this is valuing facts and refusing lies is essential. Abandoning facts equals abandoning freedom. Submitting to tyranny happens when people ignore the difference between what they want to hear and what is actually true. Modern examples in 2025 would be how Snyder warned that the U.S. ambivalence toward Ukraine under Trump-style politics embodied disinformation and ambiguity. It emboldened Russia to expand its aggression. So how do you practice this lesson? Well, you verify claims before sharing news, support fact-checking initiatives, and this is whether you are watching the news, whether you are on the internet, whether it's you're looking at a news site on the internet or you're simply on Facebook. If you're fact-checking things, then you're going to have a better understanding on what's real and what is either AI created or just plain BS. And so this is my citations page. Thank you so much. Oh, wait. So sorry. I had completely forgot a lesson. I'm going to go back to that. And so lesson five is be calm when the unthinkable arrives. And so, with this lesson, Snyder's encouraging composure in crisis because panic undermines personal civic agency. Panic fuels authoritarian responses. It allows the government to come in and take more control because of the mass fear. And we allow that to happen because everyone's scared. So, a key danger here is within sudden disasters can lead to suspension of check and balances, loss of free trial, fair trial, and this happens when chaos controls emotion. So you can think back to COVID and how everything was shut down and how everyone was scared. And so that chaos was controlling how we felt. People weren't going to the hospitals and such things like that. And so another modern example of this would be how Mali dissolved all political parties, suddenly creating public shock, and citizens responded with peaceful civil disobedience instead of succumbing to fear. And so, how would you practice this? You prepare an emergency civic response plan, connect with the community organizations, and hold calm legal demonstrations during abrupt governmental crackdowns. Thank you so much. And this is my citation page. Thank you. Okay.